Equity Theory, Fairness and Motivation by John Stacey Adams. Why do good employees suddenly stop trying? Why does enthusiasm disappear even when salaries are being paid, bonuses are offered, and the job itself has not changed? Because motivation is not destroyed only by hard work. Very often, it is destroyed by unfairness. The moment people feel, I give more, but I receive less, something shifts internally, effort becomes reluctant, attitude becomes colder, initiative begins to disappear, not because capability vanished, but because fairness vanished, and this happens in organizations every single day. A talented employee watches another receive the same reward for half the effort. A loyal worker sees promotion go elsewhere. A committed team member notices recognition repeatedly missing, and little by little, the question begins forming: why should I keep giving my best if the system is not balanced? That question led to equity theory, created by John Stacey Adams. Adams, an American behavioral psychologist, developed this theory after discovering that people are not motivated simply by what they earn. They are motivated by whether what they earn feels fair compared to others. This became known as equity theory by Adams, a theory built on one powerful workplace truth: people can tolerate hard work far more than they can tolerate perceived injustice. Let's break it down. The core idea. Adams explained that employees mentally calculate two things: input and output. Input means what they believe they are giving: time, effort, skill, loyalty, experience, commitment, responsibility. Output means what they believe they are receiving: pay, recognition, promotion, benefits, praise, status, opportunity. Now here is where it becomes powerful. People do not stop there. They compare their ratio with someone else's ratio, meaning, am I giving more and receiving less? Am I working harder and being valued less? Is this fair? The moment they perceive inequity, motivation is affected. So what is the impact? Fairness is not a soft issue. It directly affects performance. When people feel under-rewarded, this is the most common workplace danger. An employee feels, I work harder than others. I stay later. I solve more problems. I take more responsibility. But my reward feels equal to or lower than those doing less. This creates internal tension, not always visible anger, sometimes silent withdrawal, reduced enthusiasm, less initiative, lower trust. The employee may still show up physically, but mentally they begin stepping back. Why? Because effort no longer feels worth it. This is called under-reward inequity, and it is one of the fastest killers of discretionary effort. So, what is the impact? When people feel unfairly treated, they often reduce what they give. When people feel over-rewarded, this part surprises many people. Adams also said inequity can happen the other way. A person may realize, I seem to be receiving more than I am contributing. This can create discomfort too. Sometimes guilt, sometimes the need to justify themselves, sometimes inflated entitlement. Although over-reward does not usually damage motivation as quickly as under-reward, it still creates imbalance inside teams. Others begin noticing. Resentment grows, trust weakens. So fairness affects not only the individual, but the social climate. So what is the impact? Unbalanced reward damages, team harmony from both sides, how employees respond to perceived inequity. Adams explained that once people sense unfairness, they usually try to restore balance in some way. They may reduce effort, stop volunteering, lower quality, become less cooperative, mentally disengage, complain, seek promotion elsewhere, or leave the organization. Some people do not quit immediately. They simply stop giving their best. This is dangerous because leaders often misread it as laziness, but often it is not laziness. It is perceived injustice. So, what is the impact? Unfairness often shows up as low motivation, not loud protest. Why this theory matters today more than ever. In today's workplaces, comparison is constant. Employees compare salaries, recognition, remote work, flexibility, promotion, speed, workload, manager treatment, social media, and professional visibility make comparison faster than ever. People now know when others seem to be advancing quicker, which means perceived inequity forms quickly. A leader may think, everyone is employed, but employees think, is everyone valued fairly? That is a very different question, and because modern workers have more options, they do not stay loyal to unfair environments for long. So what is the impact? Perceived fairness has become a major factor in retention. Relevant workplace example today. Imagine two employees in the same department. One consistently handles difficult clients, works overtime, solves emergencies, and protects team performance. The other does the minimum expected. Yet, at the annual review, both receive almost identical recognition, almost identical reward, almost identical appreciation. What happens? The high performer notices, and something inside quietly says, then why am I carrying this? Soon they stop volunteering, stop pushing, stop caring at the same level. Not because they became less talented, but because the system taught them extra effort makes little difference. That is equity theory in real life. Advantages and disadvantages. Advantages. Highlights the importance of fairness, explains hidden motivation. Loss helps leaders understand disengagement. Useful for pay, praise, promotion, and workload balance, highly relevant to employee retention. Disadvantages. Fairness is often subjective, people compare differently. Perception may not match facts, leaders cannot control every comparison where you see this theory used today. Equity theory is highly relevant in performance management, pay structures, promotion systems, employee engagement, team workload, distribution, talent retention, because leaders now understand. People do not only ask, what am I getting? They also ask, is this just? So what is the impact? When fairness disappears, motivation quietly follows. Key insight. J. Stacey Adams taught us something every leader must remember. People will often accept difficult work if they believe the system is fair, but the moment they feel consistent imbalance, their discretionary effort begins to die. Because employees are not machines, they are constantly measuring value, respect, and justice. And the leader who ignores fairness often loses motivation without understanding why. So the real leadership question becomes, are your people underperforming because they are unwilling or because they no longer believe the exchange is fair? So ask yourself, if you looked honestly at your own environment today, would your team describe it as balanced or quietly unequal? Take a moment, pause and reflect. Grab a pen, pencil it down. One area in your workplace where people may feel they give more than they receive, because sometimes the real performance problem is not capability, it is inequity. I hope this brought value to you, and I'm wishing you abundant success. Take a moment, pause for thought. What would you like to learn and explore next?